Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. Today, we're going to be talking about Boosh, The Dragon's Path, which is book one of the Dagger and Coin series by Daniel Abraham. So with me, I have these wonderful guests. We've got Tori, we've got Christopher Navo, and we've got Anitha, all of whom have experience reading Daniel Abraham before. We've all read Long Press Quartet, right? We've all read Long Press Quartet. Cool. Has anybody here read? Jimmy, I know, is a huge Dagger and Coin fan. Have any of you guys read Dagger and Coin prior to this? Anitha, I know you had read the first two?
Yeah.
All right. So Anitha's reread on the first one. I'm reread on the whole series. I did it, a few years ago and really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm eager to talk with you guys about y'all's thoughts, folks. In the comments, let me know if have any of y'all read this series? Any of y'all planning to? We won't talk spoilers right away. We'll just talk generally about what this series is about. Mostly, it's called Dagger and Coin because there are really two ways that that nations deal with other nations, and that is with the dagger, aka military might, or the coin through economic means. Yeah. So this is much more of a standard fantasy novel than Long Press Quartet, at least in like setting wise. I still don't think it reads like a regular fantasy novel, but regardless, go ahead and give non-spoiler thoughts. We'll start with Tori, and then we can loop all the way back to me. So go ahead, Tori. What did you think of this of Dragon's Path?
So after it's been some time since I finished LPQ, which I'm actually glad about because I really wanted to have the experience of these two series very separated and give this its own space, because LPQ is one of my top 5 favorite series ever. So I think it is a little bit more classic fantasy. At the beginning, you kind of get some of that familiar territory. It feels a little bit more classic. And then Daniel Abraham does this amazing thing where the setting is more classic, but he never lets you put characters into like, this is a hero and this is a villain. And this, like in LPQ, that's very true. And in this, it's, I think, very true. They're just people. They feel very organic compared to a lot of more tropey classic fantasy series, and they make very human mistakes, and they're very flawed, and there's not really, like, you might be like, yes, that was the right decision, and then 2 pages later you're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Which I really enjoyed. I have a lot of questions going into book 2, and I think it's less prosy than LPQ. It's much more straightforward in the writing style. So it's quite bingeable, actually. It didn't take me very long to read this first one, but that's kind of I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes now.
Right on. Chris?
Yeah, I echo Tori on a lot of that aspect. I'm glad it's been a few years for LPQ for me as well. I think this series is a lot more approachable for new people to Daniel Abraham. Be that as it may, as it's 5 books, so it might be a little, people might have that toss up between, I don't want to start a 5-book series, but I also think this is a very intro friendly to Daniel Abraham's writing. I breezed through the book pretty quickly, actually, for me anyway. I'm a slow reader. I, like Tori said, there is that little more classic fantasy aspect to it as compared to LPQ, but you get into what Daniel Abraham does best and why I like his writing, which is the characters. They're all nuanced. Every character has matters that he introduces. Even the smallest character, I think, has like some role to play in this book, which really made it go forward. And like Tori said, I have a lot of questions at the end, and I think that's a really good promise to a good start of a new series for sure.
Anitha?
Okay. I love this. You all know. I mean, when I read I think 3-4 years back, this was my book of the year. Actually, I loved it completely, more than King's Blood, somehow weirdly in a way. I got into it since the prologue. I did not take any time to get into it. Pacing was fine with me. As Chris said, every character was compelling. There was not a single boring character. There was not a single boring moment for me. And this is third read for this specific book for me. I think since I'm reading in parallel with A Song of Ice and Fire, I see some similarities. I see definitely Martin's influence in this actually, with respect to world, with respect to characters.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, with what Tori said, it starts out with a typical fantasy world, which one of the hardest things to get into is that there are like 13 different races. I suggest everyone, because once I did this, it was so much easier. There are pictures of all the races. There is if you do a Google search, it's got all the races lined up. And it's just like a photo, and it's like a fan drawing. But that was super helpful for me to just picture all the races when they say whoever it is. So I strongly suggest anybody do that. It super helped me the first time through, because then I don't have to be like, okay, which one's the Tenzanai, which one's the Jakuru, or the Traugu or the dogs.
Tenzanai reminded me of Apt. What is Tynesa's father's
Mantis?
Yes, Mantis. Thank you. Wiry.
But again, what Abraham is good at is writing real characters in real situations, in fantastical situations. So they act superhuman, and they act extremely human, not superhuman. And it is painful, just like in Long Price Quartet, when you're watching someone make a terrible mistake. You watch it here and you're just like, what's going on? Like, what are we doing here? Reading it again, knowing everything that comes forward, and knowing what happens in having read this book before, it was super cool to just see the impact that things that are happening now happen later. So I greatly enjoyed that. Yeah, Anitha?
Can we address Batty's question? Haven't decided. It's not a question, actually. Haven't decided whether to start with this series. Yeah.
I think if you bounce off it, read Dragon's Path.
For me personally, Long Price Quartet setting is unique. Magic system is very, very unique, and it is South Asian setting. If you are in, and writing itself,
Anitha.
prose itself is different.
Anitha, Batty didn't ask to compare the two. It was a simple recommendation.
I'm trying.
I answered the question.
Fine.
You're giving way too much. No, go ahead, Anitha. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay. Kill my voice. You are used to killing my voice.
You go. You go ahead, Anitha. You go ahead.
Anyway, if you are into unique setting, pick that up. Dagger and coin is more traditional. It is, but magic system is still unique. I'm done, Alan. You can come back.
Right, thanks, Anitha. I did figure out why you like this book so much, Anitha, because no one calls a woman a nasty name in the whole book. If Chris and Tori, if y'all don't know, if anyone calls a woman character a nasty name, Anitha's instantly -1 star. Instantly. Look, you've got an ally with Tori there.
I mean, it depends on the context, but most of the time I probably agree.
Not for Anitha. There is no context. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I forgot. #free Anitha. Yeah, well remembered. I forgot about that. Anyway, yeah, no, I agree. Everything, Batty, everything Anitha said is true. But I would try Shadow and Summer, and if you bounce off it, go to Dragon's Path, and then once you've fallen in love with Abraham, come back to LPQ. That's totally fine. But yeah, I also really I love economic fantasy. I don't think there's enough of it. Having read over this past summer, or earlier this year, Medici Money, because that's what Abraham said he read before writing this series. It's theoretically an economic history book called Medici Money. It is a terrible book. It is terrible. Like, it is it's like the dude has a Zanga and he's just like writing things he would write on Tumblr, and it's a published book about economics. So I do not recommend anybody read that book. I recommend everyone instead reading books about the Medici. But you can see where it talks about holding companies, and then the like Vanai, the city constantly being taken by Florence and Venice, or whatever the analogies are in this book. You see a lot of that. Just like basically Antea, their country or whatever, is basically Renaissance Italy, where the city states back and forth are constantly at war. So that was interesting to see this time, because I read it once, and then when I continued it, I had listened to it, and now I listened to it again. I think the audio is pretty good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm not as high on it as Anitha is, mostly because none of my favorite things happen in this one. Books 2 and 3, I really love. So yeah. So what else can we talk about non-spoiler? Tori, do you have any non-spoiler thoughts that you want to share before we move into like specific things on why we like? On which one of your POVs is your favorite? Let's do that. Which POV did you enjoy reading the most?
Oh boy. Well, none of the main POVs I would say are my favorite character. But I liked the push and pull political intrigue in Dawson's POV quite a lot. Dawson's a very, questionable human being, but the political intrigue was interesting. And then beyond that, I would probably say, is it Getter or Getter? Getter. He was probably my second most intriguing POV. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't read it, there's I think 5 POVs. Dawson is a noble who absolutely does not want the farmers to have any kind of voice in the government. He is very anti-farmer. Mm-hmm. You have Getter, who is he's the son of a minor noble he's
a wet blanket.
Yeah, he's super booktube coded. Like he loves books and talks about. If I hear someone say speculative essay, like he just loves speculative essays, and he's fat. That's part of it. He's a chubby guy, so he's a chubby nerd who doesn't want to be at war, but is the son of a minor noble, so has to go. You have Cithrin, who is a ward of the Medean Bank, which is the freaking Medici Bank. And then Captain Marcus Wesker, who is an old war hero who has become a mercenary captain. And then you have one POV. There's one chapter of Clara, who is Dawson's wife.
Oh, yeah. That was my favorite. Favorite.
So you get a very, very little bit of Clara, mostly because Dawson isn't present for where Clara is, and you need what's going on in the noble court. So he gives Clara POV. So I really, those are the POVs. Make sure we're not spoiling anything.
Getter is evil, Sam.
Guys, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, what are we doing, guys?
Okay. Sorry, spoiler alert. For me, sorry, Alan, there is not a single boring character for me. But interestingly, first time when I read, I loved Dawson's character. It was very compelling for me. I ate it up, everything, all that political intrigue. But second time itself, I observed how conservative he is, actually, how racist he is. This time, actually, this read, the the depth of which is passion in what he believes in goes, it hit this time. But still, he was very compelling character. But this time I am more interested in reading Cithrin's and Marcus POV. I look forward to them. I wasn't keen on Dawson's or Gedda's POV, but when I got into the chapter, when I read a single page, I immediately got into it.
Upon this read, I noticed just how unpleasant everyone is. Dawson especially rubbed me the wrong way this read. I'm like, you are so unpleasant to everyone. Like, I hate you too. Like, and I'm not even pro farmer, but I also don't like you. So, like, just so unpleasant. Cithrin's unpleasant too. In fact, if I had to rate them on like whoever the most pleasant is, I'm going to say it's Marcus, but not by much. Like, he's just the least unpleasant, I think. If we got a Master Kit POV, he would absolutely be least unpleasant. I love Master Kit.
Master.
Master
What about
Kit's
you, Chris?
awesome.
I was just going to say Master Kip. I would love more. I wish we got more of his POV in this. We do get a couple. We'll get in that in spoilers, of course. But otherwise, Marcus, I think Marcus was saying a lot of the things I was saying to myself about the other characters he was interacting with, especially Cithrin. And it's like, yes, thank you, Marcus, for saying that, because I loved Marcus's interactions with Master Kip, and I always felt like he was sort of like the narrator in a sense of like, because he always seemed to like not much on his own, but he was driving other people's like character development and character forwardness throughout the book. Yeah, but it's tough to say if I actually like somebody. I do like the interactions with Dawson and his wife Clara later on in the book. I specifically like
Clara is such a fantastic character,
What?
even though she got less screen time.
and that's what I was mentioning earlier about how these like minor characters who you weren't really following for the majority of the book, and then suddenly they have a chapter, and their chapter is amazing. I love that whole interaction with her cousin, and I think for me it was just but not saying that Cithrin or Getter they're well written, and you still enjoy in a sense reading their chapters. So it's not like it's a Getter chapter, I don't want to read this, but you still enjoy, and that's the nuance of Daniel's writing. It's just like you can make these unlikable characters still compelling to read. So
For sure.
For me,
Go ahead.
we'll talk about it when we get into spoilers in detail. Never mind.
Yeah. So anybody who's interested in this, I think, it's a world that was like dragons ruled the world, and it's not like they're not like bestial. Like, they're hyper intelligent dragons that used to rule the world. That created all the other races. Humans and the other races were created by the dragons. They used dragon's jade to make the roads. So consider the dragons basically the Romans. And now they're gone, and all of their like architecture and stuff is like left. And the book's called The Dragon's Path because the Dragon's Path means the path to war. Like, the dragons fought each other all the time, and that's why it's called that. So it's just there's conflict brewing in the background. Will it turn into war or not? Is it going to be the dagger or the coin or whatever? But it also has, again, like I said, it also has the economic stuff, which I really, really enjoyed. It's not like, it's just different. Like, it's not like, you just don't really see the inner workings of trading companies in fantasy books. I usually have to read James Clavell, like Gaijin and Taipan for that, or Noble House. So I wish there was more of that in fantasy books. So I really enjoy that as well. But no character goes where you think they're going to go. And there are so many scenarios that we're going to talk about when we get to spoilers that, were this not Abraham, exactly where that scene would go. But Abraham takes it a different place. And that, I think, is one of the things that I really love about Abraham is it is not easy to predict, because he subverts expectations, but in a realistic way. Not like, I'm going to subvert expectations because that's what we do now. We subvert expectations. So here comes something out of nowhere. It's always like, oh yeah, like people would do that, wouldn't they?
It felt every step of the way, whenever he subverted, it felt very natural. Yeah,
For
this
sure.
is very common.
Yeah, for sure. So I recommend this book. Y'all should go so we can talk about spoilers, so we can deal with, talk more about the thematic content and the specific ways that Abraham is just a brilliant writer. So if you have not read it, or if you don't want to be spoiled, make sure you go now so we can talk about stuff. And then, come back and watch the rest of it when you've read it. Hello, Joanna. If you liked LPQ, you would like this, Joanna. There's strong female characters. Now, when we talk about spoilers, Anitha, remember, you've read the second book. Please only talk about the first book.
Oh, I don't remember second book anyway.
Okay, good. So, who do we want to talk about first? Which thread do we want to follow first? Tori, who do we want to follow first?
Positively or negatively?
Either one. You pick. Who do we want to follow first?
Oh, man. Okay,
Here,
let's.
hold on. I'll start real quick with saying that what I liked about this book, the magic system, is from the opening chapter with the apostate, where you see he bleeds and the spiders crawl out of his hand. Talk about imagery that stuck with me. That has stuck with me since I read it the first time.
Yeah.
And then once we get to Bazrahip, the high priest of the spider goddess, toward the end, when Getter comes back with that, and we see exactly what the power is, and then rereading it and recontextualizing everything that Kit does up to that point, where they can tell through the spiders in their blood if someone is lying or not. I think that is just so freaking cool, because imagine a world imagine a world where you can tell if someone is lying or not. How much that would change our every interaction with anyone if you could absolutely 100% with certainty, which is one of the main themes, is like being certain of things.
Mm-hmm.
If someone is lying to you or not. And not only that, we see it with Kit. This is why he's such a compelling actor. You have the ability to, with the spoken word, not compel, but like kind of change the way people think. We see it when they're ambushed by the bandits, and Kit is like, "You've already lost. Give it up. You can't beat us. You've already lost." And then we see Bazrahip do the same thing with Felden Moss, being like, "Give it up, Felden Moss. Listen to the sound of my voice." And it's so cool in the audio. Like, Bazrahip is super deep voiced, and just every time the priests go, "Listen to the sound of my voice. Listen to my voice. You've already lost. Everything you love is gone. You cannot win." And it's just so bone chilling to me that that's one of my favorite parts of this, and why I think Bazrahip is so interesting, because you wouldn't think that's like a bad thing, right? Like, you can tell if people are lying, but there's already this sinister, we get it from Kit and we get it from Bazrahip himself. There's already this sinister, this sinister aura about Bazrahip and the spider priests.
I think what makes it terrifying is the lack of equality. It's not a power shared by everyone.
No.
It's power shared by a few. That's what's terrifying, is you have this like super OP'd, like, I can tell if anyone is lying. You can't. And that makes me way more powerful and way more terrifying than you, because, there's a lack of equality there.
And I did do part of the audio as well. And I love the fact that it's not like, "Oh, you're lying, try again." It's like, it was just no. And it was like, do it again kind of thing. The silent part was, do it again, say it again, and it was like, no, and it was just like that one word, but it was, read, or, it was said just so cold and sinister. It's like, that's all you needed to say. And you needed to keep saying no until you got the answer you were looking for.
And like Zealy Green says, you can also tell if someone's lying to themselves. So if I say, "Look, guys, I come out here, I don't care who watches. I don't care if anybody ever watches any of my channel. I don't care if I ever get another sub. Like, I don't care. I'm just out here doing what I want to do." And Bazrahip's going to be like,
No.
"Close. It's like, you're close, but is that really true? I'll be like, well, I want my friends to watch it. Like, is that? It's just like, I want Bazrahip right here, and I'm gonna call all of the really popular booktubers, and I'm gonna put them on this chat, and I'm gonna have Bazrahip right in the corner where I'm looking like this, and I'm just gonna quiz them, and we're gonna
then BookTube go down the dragon's path.
I mean, yeah, we will go down the dragon's path. Anitha, what do you think of Bazrahip the Spider's Master Kit?
Prologue itself, the way it ended, my goddess is going to eat the world. Abraham set up how dangerous that goddess is. We see the extent of the terrifying nature of the the implication is there, how dangerous this goddess is going to be. And the minute Gedder brings back Basrahib, we see Abraham already sets that up in prologue. I love the way he
Great
sets that
prologue.
up and how he brings that into the main plot. And
I love that gives us the context of why Master Kit always says probably, because he's fleeing from the cult that is all about certainty. Because everything, like, they speak with certainty, which is what sways people's minds. And because they know things for certain, because they can tell if people are lying or whatever. And so Master Kit is trying to deprogram himself by making sure he doesn't speak in certainty. So he says probably.
I find that Cithrin catches that.
Yeah, Cithrin catches that. Yeah.
And as you said, in theory, it looks like a positive quality, positive power, but it could create so much chaos. It could, end the world, actually, this kind of power.
I know. I can't have Bazrahip. Like, I can't have Anitha asking, like, Anitha, are you actually my number one fan? And when she says yes, and Bazrahip's like, no, I don't know what I'd have to do. Like, I'd have to cut her loose.
You'd have to change her Discord name. That's the real, yeah. That's the terrifying part.
I know. So and recontextualizing it, listening to it again, the part with Opal hits so different once you know what the powers are, and once you know that Master Kit's the apostate, and that he is, it hurts him so much. But she's lying. Opal's lying. She's going to try to kill Cithrin and take the money and kill her if she has to. Again, even though she may not even believe that she's going to. She may believe that she's never going to do it again. But
or hasn't decided to do it yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
But he's just like, oh, because it's heavily implied that they slept together, that they had a relationship back when she was younger, or when they were both younger, and he has to, and Marcus shanks her on the dock and throws her in the water, and that's also one of the first times you see how ruthless Marcus is in protecting Cithrin.
This is where it connects to the themes of LPQ to me, how Abraham always deals with the consequences of the actions immediately, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I just think it's just so good when you know that Kit's the apostate, and like, after you, like, because you don't really, like, you kind of know what the power is, but once you get to Bazrahip, like, it's explicit, like, what the power is. And so just seeing how Kit's been using that the whole time is just super cool. Like, Abraham's just brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Let's talk about Dawson and Clara. Let's talk about Dawson and Clara. Then we'll do Cithrin and Marcus, and then we'll save Gedder for last. Who wants to talk about Dawson and Clara to start with? Tori, you want to start?
I love Clara.
Clara's cool. I'll be right back. I'm eating a drink.
Amazing. Clara was, in some ways, I think Clara's presence in this book significantly helped my frustration with Cithrin as a character. And so, like, her you have Dawson, who's the front runner in the stage for most of the book, and he's the one that's pulling all the strings, and he's the one that has all of the authority, and blah blah blah. And then you start, as the book is going on, you're noticing like, actually, Clara is doing more probably than he is at any given time, to actually try and keep some kind of balance, to try to, leverage things in a way that doesn't immediately lead to bloodshed. And I like that you can tell Jory Callium is actually one of my favorite characters in the book. Yeah. And I like that you can see him so clearly as a product of his two parents, because he's such a interesting balance of the two of them, and I have high hopes for him throughout the series. And I don't know, especially when I actually cheered out loud when I saw that Clara had a POV later on in the book, because I was like, finally, I want to be inside this woman's head. Like, I need to know more about where she's at actually.
First time when I saw Clara's POV, I was like, I cheated, yes, finally. I was like, this is what I want. Abraham is fantastic in writing, good marriages and parents' relationship with kids. We see that in LPQ as well. Dawson and Clara's marriage, whether we agree with Dawson or not, it was beautiful. No matter how different their approaches are, they don't let it affect their marriage. They don't let it affect the environment and family, which I loved actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me, it was Clara really helped for me appreciate Dawson a lot more, and the nuance of Dawson's character. When you first meet Dawson, he's racist, he's classist, he's all these things like right off the bat, and you're like, okay, well, this guy is a D, but as it went on and you started getting that family dynamic with Jory and Clara, and then you see again that brilliance of these nuanced characters, and I appreciated Dawson a lot more. And Clara, I mean, with her, and especially even, she's got a little bit of a ruthless side to her too,
mm-hmm.
Especially with her cousin Ophelia. And I feel like, I would love to see more of her myself in the, Anitha and Alan are tight-lipped over there, but I would love to definitely see a little more from her for
mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
I am like what Leah's saying here. Dawson is such a hardcore traditionalist. Like, it's always been done this way. The nobility, like the noblesse oblige, like the nobility has always had these privileges. And I think part of the problem is that the king is his old buddy. Like, the king is his school chum. And I think that he doesn't understand that King Simeon is the king of everyone, and not just their little noble group that they all grew up with playing. They played freaking lacrosse at Exeter. These extremely exclusive boarding schools that they went to. You know what I mean? Like, they doesn't have any experience with the commoner. And Simeon, now part of it is Simeon is just, I mean, he's just more passive than they want him to be. But I think Simeon is also like, hey, I have subjects that aren't just you, Dawson, but Dawson is just so set in the old ways and does not understand why his friend does not understand. Like, we grew up together, Simeon.
And
like,
that reflects in every scene, actually. Sorry, go ahead, continue.
No, you're right. But I wanted to talk about one of the things that, one of the ways that Abraham does it differently than most authors would. When Vincent Coe saves Dawson after Dawson has cut him loose, instead of doing what normally, like, okay, I'm so, like, you know what, I was wrong, I come back to my service. Instead, it's just a tiny change. He's like, I've never seen you before in my life. I never would have, like, you couldn't have worked for me. I never would have fired someone as
so skilled.
Yeah, someone as skilled as you are. So why don't you
now that you're useful?
Yeah, exactly. But it's a small change that does the same thing, but I think it's more in line with how Dawson cannot admit, like, as a noble, he can't. Like, it's impossible in his DNA to admit fault to one of his servants. Like, it's just not in his, and rather than compromising that attitude in Dawson, Abraham handles it in a different way. Does that make sense?
And
Yeah.
and the way Abraham writes Clara's character, Dawson's character, reaching their home and talking to their door slave, actually. The difference itself, actually. Clara addresses him by his name.
By
Dawson
name.
never does.
Mhm.
And it was clear from the first scene
I don't
itself
think Dawson
how,
knows his name.
yeah,
Hmm.
and how Dawson treats his dogs, how he compares the staff of his house to dogs, actually, the rest of the subjects as dogs. Oh my
And-
God. In every, actually, any author, if any other author writes Dawson's character like that, I would have hated that character. But I did not hate Dawson's character. I loved him, actually. It was such a compelling character, such an understandable character. I can see people like that existing. It was still compelling.
And
Well, and I,
oh, sorry.
go ahead. I was just going to say, I think that's one of the things I appreciate about Abraham so much is I am sick and tired of characters in fantasy books that have nowhere to go with their character arc.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
Preach.
where you like start the series and everybody, and it's not just the authors, it's also readers having that expectation. Like, we should already be here at like point Z, like, without having to put in the work to get there. And so to me, the kind of payoff that this sets up potentially with all of these character arcs to see how they grow and change or don't throughout the series and how that's going to affect the plot and the other characters, I think is so much more compelling than just Dawson is just the like poster child noble. He has the perfect view of everyone around him and there's nowhere to go. Like,
Right.
Fair.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if y'all have read this, but like, I just thought of this now. Dawson is a nobleman who hates the commoners. Like, he does not have any use for commoners. And yet, when I compare this to, and I'm sorry, Brian McClellan's going to catch strays right
I
here.
know you're talking about Promise of Blood.
Serious, guys, Brian McClellan's nobility, they have a single character trait, and it is their despising of the commoner. Like, they say it all the time, but like, it's just not this. Dawson has that same aspect. He despises the common man, does not find them valuable at all, treats them, compares them to his hounds, right? And yet Dawson is such a richly drawn character because it is all consistent. It's consistent with the character that's been established, and he does other things besides say the words, besides sneer at commoners and say how useless they are.
What's the difference between having, authors humanizing a character versus having a caricature?
Sure.
Yes, and humanize does not mean you have to like them.
No.
Dawson's not a great guy. He's a huge douchebag.
But he always has one goal, which is to save the empire from enemies, and we are all invested in that goal. That's where Abraham brings us along with
whether
Dawson's
he's right
character.
or not. Like, he believes that he is trying to save Antea from enemies both foreign and domestic. And whether he's correct, like, that's what he believes. And what I love about Clara is Abraham walks this line brilliantly with Clara, because she is a strong female character who is incredibly feminine, who has a traditional role within that marriage. She does not challenge Dawson in public ever, because that is not what is permitted within this world. And within that, and with everything we know about Dawson, he's not gonna Clara's not going to undercut him in public. That's just not, that it would not make any sense with everything we know about Dawson for him to be like, oh, well, I guess I'm henpecked here, right? And yet she wields so much quiet influence over him, over his household, we see her
sons.
Yeah, over her sons, manipulating Philia, and the political stuff that she's manipulating on the side. It's so good. Like, rather than setting out to say, I'm going to make strong female character, he just creates a woman and makes her a real person and allows her own that woman's innate characteristics to show that strength. Pratchett does the same thing with Lady Sybil.
Yeah.
So I
Love
just
Lady
think
Sybil.
great. I think
Shout
it's
out.
so good. I think it's so good.
Mhm.
Abraham's writing gets you to empathize with or root for elements. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree.
Yep.
I love I like Jory. Like I
love
Dawson's
Jory.
character.
I love Jory. He's probably my favorite character besides Clara. And
I love
Master
how the sons are arguing over what's good for the country or whatever. And I also like that we're invested in Dawson, you know, stopping the plot or whatever. But then we see that, like, what Isarian, is that the head of the other faction, the Farmers Counselor faction? I think it's Isarian.
Yeah.
He genuinely also, like, he's like, Isarian is not the one. Isandrian, sorry. Isandrian is not the one plotting to kill Dawson. That's all Felden Moss.
Yeah.
Isandrian is also doing what he believes is best for the country, and he believes he's like the farmers need a voice. Like, we need to have a farmers' council. I'm not trying to overthrow the nobility, but there should be like a plebeian assembly, basically.
Mhm.
But he is so demonized by Dawson, and Dawson never sees it. He never admits that he's wrong about Isandrian, ever. Like through the whole thing. And then, you know, Simeon has to finally exile all of them except the one who needs to be exiled, which is freaking Felden Moss. Ag. Any other thoughts? Do we have any other thoughts about Dawson and Clara?
I think that's all.
Yeah.
Cool. Who wants to start with Marcus and Cithrin? Who wants to start with Marcus and Cithrin? Yeah, Leah, absolutely. Dawson's inflexibility creates what he's trying to prevent. Yeah, for sure. Anybody who likes Cithrin the best? You, Anitha, you start with Cithrin.
I love Cithrin. Definitely one of my favorite characters.
Right,
because especially with
Cithrin's a drunk.
she's a child orphan, went through lot of drama, so she has a lot to learn. But I understand why. Daniel Abraham said that he took it from Queen's Gambit was his inspiration in writing Cithrin's character arc and Cithrin's character. So I understood his why he wrote that way. At the same time, it never came out of nowhere. He always established from the first Cithrin's POV, actually, because all Cithrin saw was a Bessel. That was his inspiration. That was her role model, actually. Whatever Bessel did, she wants to do. So when she got some freedom to make her own choices, she tried to follow what Bessel did, which is not exactly the society approves. We don't agree with it. I don't agree with everything Cithrin does, but I still liked what Abraham did. That's such a bold step, actually. I really applaud him for that. He could have gone other way, like the way he wrote Clara's character, like strong female character. She's good at her banking. She's very intelligent. She's very good girl. He could have gone that, but he took a bold risk. I am expecting a good character development for her, that character. So I have hope for that. So there is lot of room to grow. At the same time, do you remember that what is that guy, that old woman Gedder met?
The old woman? What do you mean?
Delphi kind of oracle kind of lady. She said you will meet her. You will meet her 3 times. You already met her once. Every time you are a different person. I think she's talking about.
Where was that?
Gedder, when he was going to Keshet, he meets
on the
one
way to
camp,
the
right?
The tribal. Yeah.
So one lady tells his prophecy. So she tells him that you will meet her 3 times. What does she mean by you will meet her like your destruction or your I don't know what she meant, but I think she was talking about Citrin. So I am,
Interesting.
yeah. So I'm thinking there is a lot of character development, and there is a lot of room for the way the path also it takes.
I love Cithrin. I do not enjoy Cithrin until she establishes the bank. Once she establishes the bank, like I love watching her try to figure it out. I love them talking about insuring ships. like what a boring book. But I mean, I'm fascinated by it. But again, I want to highlight another thing that Abraham does differently. When she sleeps with the dude to try to steal his
Contract.
so she knows what deal to make. That is not how that goes. It does in tradition, like she does this, maybe she feels bad about it, maybe he calls her on it and they fight about it or whatever. It is not a double, like it's not a double cross like it is here, where the dude slept with her because he knew she was going to do that and then screws her over. Remember, Cithrin is our heroine. She's supposed to, and this whole thing is going towards her crushing it so that she can keep her branch of the bank. And when she meets this just epic failure, that is not what we're anticipating for Cithrin here. Like, we're anticipating success so that when Palin Clark, which, by the way, Palin Clark is actually probably one of my top favorite characters in this book. I love just this, like, he's just the bank's hatchet man. That's sent all over to make sure that people are, and, he'll kill you. Like the Medicis, he's the mob, the capo that's sent out to kill you if you're screwing it up. He'll ruin you. So the fact that when Palin Clark shows up, Abraham wrings tension out of that scene where he's interrogating her and like locks her out of her room for weeks while he goes over all her books, and then, talks to her and listens to her, and then is at the end like, okay, I'm sorry. There seems to be a misunderstanding. You're not working for this bank. Like, sorry. But then I did not see it coming what she had expected, because, after Marcus talks her out of her drunken funk and she's like, okay, I have one shot. I didn't know she was going with I forgot Abraham set up that she's a minor at the beginning. And she's like, hey, your bank's gonna be ruined because
I will burn everything to the ground.
I was like, holy, and Palin Clark's just sitting there like,
I love how it was handled. He did not yell, he did not scream, he did not, threaten with killing her. It's like,
he just says, enjoy your bank, Magistra. Enjoy your bank, Magistra. I just thought it was brilliantly done. Cithrin is, I think, exactly the teenager that she needs to be, and I find her insufferable.
Teenager with trauma. Don't forget the trauma.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I give Cithrin a pass because she's young. I think she's got needs as a sexually as a young woman, so she's very promiscuous with her herself, and she's intelligent. She knows her numbers, she knows the banking, she knows all of that stuff, but she lacks common sense, which is pretty much what a lot of 17-year-olds are. And I appreciate reading a fantasy book where you don't have this teenage prodigy who's the best at everything, where seasoned people who have been doing things for 40 years are bested by somebody who's 17 years old. So I appreciate he kept her as a 17-year-old. I mean, you see her awkwardness at the very beginning with her she has a crush on one of her fellow bankers, Basil. And so you immediately establish that she's very awkward in social situations, but when it comes to her numbers and the banking, that's where she shines. And I think she comes to realize that at the end. Hence, when you brought up the thing with Perrin, it's like, I can play this now to my part, but she makes a lot of dumb mistakes along the way. And I like the Marcus, because you said we were going to bring in Marcus in this too a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like the Marcus mentorship. I'm still at the fence if he likes her more than like the father-daughter figure. I kind of, at first, I do picture it kind of like the daughter that he lost, kind of thing, because he did lose his wife and daughter
At least
in the
from
beginning.
Marcus' side, it was like daughter-father relationship. That's what I
Okay, yeah,
got.
all right. I
Except
want to
that
make
Yardam continually tries to be like, that's not your daughter, Marcus. That's not your daughter, man. Like,
yeah.
Shout out Yardam.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I give her a pass for all the mistakes she's made, and I think she does learn from mom. And I did like that moment where she's like, "I lost, I lost."
Yeah.
and
I
it
do
was
want
just
to
like,
add one, but Tori, go
but she
ahead,
was
then we'll
just
add.
like totally, shocked by that fact that she
Mhm.
got overplayed for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And again, Marcus, like this, Matt, this is I love it when Palin is like, we're the freaking Medici Bank.
I
And he's
killed
like,
kings.
I'm Marcus flipping Wester. Like, do you know who I am?
I killed the kings.
Try again.
So good.
Yeah, I actually am also kind of a nerd about fantasy economics, which I didn't actually realize about myself until I started reading books that Alan recommended, and I was like, this is actually really fascinating. And I totally agree with Chris too, that like one of the things that I do appreciate about the way that Abraham writes Sithrin is that in a lot of other fantasy books, these teenage characters are not written as teenagers. They do succeed for no reason. And it gets so frustrating that it's like, and this, 16-year-old took on the world and won just because, kind of thing. And I appreciated the roller coaster and how Sithrin has the book knowledge. You can tell she's a student of this craft, but the street smarts have not caught up yet. And I think he balanced that part really well with her. So you could get like, oh my gosh, she's got this chance to suddenly put all of this textbook learning essentially and the numbers experience into play. But she's not as experienced as a lot of the people that she's playing against. And that comes out, I think, in a way that makes sense, even though I did not enjoy reading it. Weirdly, I don't enjoy reading promiscuous 17-year-old girls. And one of the things I think my biggest issue with Sithrin was that Abraham and Alan, like you mentioned, I kind of forgot until we get to this point that he set Sithrin up to be a minor and all of a sudden it's this big reveal. There was absolutely no way I could forget she was a minor from literally the first chapter she comes in, because that was my one moment where I almost put the book down and was done, because I'm so tired and I'm going to try and keep this because I know everybody's sick of me ranting about this. I'm really tired of reading fantasy books where we have all these male characters. Here's the male intros. They're doing all these things, political intrigue, blah, 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 blah. Now we have a young female protagonist, of course, because that's what everybody uses. And then within the first chapter, she's stripped naked by an old man.
Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot about this scene completely.
And here's the thing. There was no reason for it at all, because the only reason is I need to see if you can play a caravan boy. So let's strip you naked. And it was one of those things where I was like, this is my introduction to Sithrin's character, and I have been so burned so many times, and I'm so sick and tired of exploiting minor female characters every single time. I'm so tired of that. Yeah. So that is my little rant about that. So by the way, I'm a minor. I'm like, yeah, nobody forgot.
So I didn't forget she was a minor. I forgot that minors can't sign contracts.
Right.
I forgot the consequences of that. It just didn't occur to me.
Yeah.
I want to say two things before we move on from Sithrin.
Hold on. Read this comment real quick. Some fantasy books feel like that guy who's really knowledgeable about statutory law. Please stay. It's so gross.
Okay, the first one I want to talk about what Chris mentioned, Sithrin being promiscuous. that one, Citrin was raised by Magister Emmanuel. Even then, when she needs to bid for that contract for ships, instead of going back to her teachings from Magister Emmanuel, she got back to what she learned from Bessel actually. I understand that first time I am not at all comfortable also with the promiscuous characters, whether it was male or female, whatever the age, I am not comfortable. But even first time I was uncomfortable when reading that. But in this third read, my perspective changed. I felt like it was uncomfortable for me, but for Citrin, it was very normalized because she grew up watching Bessel. She grew up watching Bessel sleeping around. So from her perspective, it was not being promiscuous. It was very normal behavior. So that's why this read, I am not that uncomfortable with that scene, with her strategy to sleep that with that to sleep with that guy to steal the proposal. And number two, I do agree. I understand you being uncomfortable with that her stripping naked. I was also very uncomfortable first time when I read it, but now I think, and I am that I agree that is not at all required. But I don't look at him as some old man. I look at him as the man who raised her. From his perspective, she's still a kid. That's how I convince myself, but I do understand people having problem with that.
I like when she confronts, again, this is Abraham showing that she is still young and inexperienced when I forget the Jasuru's name, whatever, the snake guy that she sleeps with, but then he
Kohar
gets
M. Kohar M.
Kohar M. When
Kohar.
Kohar M comes back and she's like, "Get out of my face," and he's like, "Really? Like, I really thought like you were better than that. Like, you're mad at me for doing to you what you literally were doing to me. Like, it's the game. Like, this is just business. It's not personal." And I
Also,
really thought you were better than
he
pitching a
doesn't
fit.
know that she's a teenager. He
No.
thinks she's an older woman, so that's why he expected better from
And
her.
this is the first person she slept with?
No, she slept with didn't she have to go around with Sander?
No, she did not.
No, she almost sleeps
no,
with
she
Sander
didn't.
before Marcus shows up on the skating rink and says,
That's
"I'll cut
right,
it off
that's
if I
right.
see you again."
Yes, yeah,
So
that's right.
he doesn't know that this is her first time sleeping with someone that that she's a teenager and she has all of these other things going on in her head. But again, it's not just that; it's also the fact that she got outplayed. Like it's very complicated feelings she's having toward Kohar M there. But I like that Abraham knows that.
I love that how believable her reaction is, at the same time how immediately she's called out for that behavior actually.
Yeah.
Abraham immediately, I love that scene. That's why that confrontation scene, you're the one who did it,
Yeah.
and you are yelling at me. That was like on face. That's
Right.
what I mean. I love that scene.
Yeah.
Only I can do it.
Yeah, which is again very true
Yeah.
to her age.
Yeah, very teenager behavior.
Now, Leah talks about how Marcus is just like he's the war hero. We've all read fantasy with the war hero. No. Marcus is not having it. Like he is just Marcus is on the run from his war hero title. He does not want to serve kings. He does not want to serve princes. He does not want to serve governments. He is a mercenary for hire, and really he's a caravan guard basically, because he does not want to fight other people's wars, because that is how he lost his wife and daughter, and pretty terribly, like in pretty gruesome ways. So I love the relationship between Yardam and Marcus. I love the fact that Yardam is trying to make sure Marcus keeps his perspective in like, hey, like this is not your daughter, but also like, hey, you would be staying if you weren't so concerned with, falling into the father figure role. You would never leave a girl who can't take care of herself with all that money. Like I
Also,
get that you're
also
trying
it's
to
good
be what?
good job for them as well. Paying job for them.
Yeah. So he's like, we would take this job if it was anybody besides her. And Marcus is just like, I love that he's on the run from his past. I love that Cithrin is giving him purpose, and I love that we see him grow into kind of accepting how much he's willing to do to keep her safe. Like this is becoming his new like raison d'etre. And like I said, that scene with Opal where like it's absolutely brutal. Like Marcus freaking shanks an actress who's mostly a petty criminal. But Cithrin could have died. They hired thugs that could have killed her. Yeah, Yardam is his compass. I like the fact that Yardam's a former priest who tries to philosophize at Marcus, and he's just not having any of it.
I love how Marcus constantly asks Yardam, "Is this the day you throw me in a ditch and take command?"
Yeah, that's the real bromance of the book.
Yeah. This is the day I threw Alan in the ditch.
And I do appreciate that they made Yardam one of the other races, which I felt was kind of. I mean, you established these 13 races, and I would have liked. That was probably my gripe would be to have more of that. So I appreciate that, and you could tell Yardam is just something different,
Yeah, and he's always flicking his ear.
Flicking.
Yeah.
So is his ear jewelry jingles. Yeah.
We need to talk about Gedder.
Hold on. Anybody have final Marcus thoughts? Tori, you can talk about Marcus. You got any Marcus thoughts?
I think Marcus was kind of the first grounding character for me in the story, just because he checks a lot of boxes for characters in military fantasy that I read a lot. So I appreciated that he was kind of the like, oh yeah, okay, I can walk in step with this character until I get my bearings with everything else that's going on a little bit. And yeah, I loved his relationship with Yardam, that very like best friends, we've been through it together kind of relationship, and yet you can tell they're still very, very different. They have very different beliefs, and there's a little bit of that push and pull that becomes almost like endearing after a while, where it loses a lot of its friction because they've just been together for so long.
They were like, for me, they were kind of like a Han and Chewbacca kind of thing.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Which we also need more of that in fantasy, personally. But yeah.
So, moving on to Gedder, who I think is one of Gedder does not exist in other fantasy books. Like the character of Gedder, I do not know someone analogous to Gedder in other fantasy books. I know people analogous to Gedder on Reddit, but not in like actual epic fantasy books. So the jaw drop I had the first time I read this was when Gedder sets fire to Vanai because he figures, like, he realizes that no one wants him to succeed. People are playing him. He doesn't know who his enemy is, so he's like, screw it, I'm just gonna burn it. And in the discourse around this in my Discord has been really interesting because it didn't occur to me like it did to some other people, where people are like, how is he okay with murdering everyone in that city? And this is what I tell them, because you cannot think of Gedder as an adult. Gedder is a child. He is an adult, but he is just the further you get in this book, you're just like, he thinks of things the way my 2-year-old thinks of things. Like, he thinks of things like a kid who's been picked on his whole life, and he doesn't process it the way adults do, or the way that adults should. So he processes, because there are plenty of adults who act like this too. Like, Gedder is the incel of this book 100%. But at the same time, I feel for Gedder because no one expected anything of him. His mom died early. His dad didn't know what to do with him. His dad doesn't want to do any of the things that nobles are required to do. His dad's not warlike. His dad's not super civic minded. His dad's just a nerd, like a book nerd. And so Getter grew up with that. And, his mom was super soft. And so Getter doesn't have any of the like hardness that nobles in a country that is constantly at war need. And so he is just removed. He is like a homeschool kid who is now tossed into public school for the first time in his life in 9th grade. And he's never met a public school kid ever. And the public school kid immediately is looking at half-naked people on TikTok, dropping the F-bomb everywhere, like got his vape in the bathroom. And Getter's never seen any of that. So Getter is just like, oh, and they steal his book. They dump his speculative essay in the toilet. And he just doesn't know how to deal with it. And his dad doesn't want to deal with it either. His dad's just like, just go read or something. There is no defense for Getter. And yet, Abraham makes part of him so empathetic as someone who was picked on when I was in school. When I was young also, I was picked on as well. And I was picked on by two dudes who were not in the gifted class. And there was a tall, skinny one and a short, fat one. And they used to tell us, because I was in the Quest program, right, which is the gifted program in elementary school. And they used to be like, hey, alien. That's what they called me, because that's the insult for Alan. They'd be like, you know what Quest stands for, right? I'm like, what? Queers under extreme stupidity tests.
That is so stupid.
Good one, guys. But they would steal my book. They would steal my book from me, guys, and throw it on the ground and like tear the covers off. And when I was in middle school, there were these two enormous twins in my art class, because I was in mostly gifted classes, but my electives were with the Gen Pop. There were these two enormous twins who would steal my backpack and hide it somewhere in the freaking art room. And Miss Hill was too drunk to freaking stop them. And so, like, I get it. In a different world where I was a freaking freak incel that didn't have other friends, like, I can see it. There's no defense. Please, anyone watching this, do not. Reddit mods, get out. Like, get a life. Like, get out. But, like, the hurt little boy that Getter is, who comes into this power by people who also think he's a fool. Like, the people who give him this power are not kind. They are using him because they think he is useless. And so he comes into he does not know how to deal with this power. So if I can't have it, I'm just going to burn it. And then he gets real power with Buzz Rahip. And it's just like looking at an oncoming train. Getter is not let's go to Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility, right? Do any of y'all think that Getter is responsible enough to have the power that Buzz Rahip has given him? Like, what are we doing? And so I just find Getter such a compelling character, while also just being like, oh, bro, like what? Anyway, so that's my rant on Getter.
When things are going good, he come across as a very normal person. Like, even at the end, after everything happened, when Prince Astor comes and cries, he was also, my mother also died when I was saying we can be brothers. He was also crying. He comes across as a normal, empathetic guy. But the minute someone disrespects him, or he feels embarrassed, that pettiness comes out, that he doesn't know how to deal with that as an adult. And what I think, until Burning of, when I felt forget whatever Alan you said, I same feeling. But when after that, he never blames himself. He was like, they made me do it.
He never blames himself. No.
They made me do it. I am a victim here. He never comes out of that victim mentality.
So hard to read.
It is.
That's where I was like, oh my God, he doesn't
Completely
know
with
how
you.
to process
agree.
things like an adult. When there is a disagreement, when someone insults you, when someone bully you, how to deal with that. And he lashes out not at them but other innocent people. That was difficult to read, but at the same time, yes, I understand. Yes, I saw some people like that.
Part of what like is painful to me is he is so convinced that him and Jory are friends because Jory wasn't mean to him. And that breaks my heart, guys. As a teacher of teenagers, I see this kind of stuff. Like, it breaks my heart to see kids like this where they're oddballs, they don't have a ton of, but they think that these other kids are their friends because they're not mean to them in like to their face, because the kids are at least polite enough to not do that. But then I hear about these kids, they make fun of these other kids, this other kid behind their back. And it's just heartbreaking.
To
But
be
he's a
fair,
sociopath.
Yeah.
To be fair to Jory, once he realized that Gedder is innocent something, he was like, okay, I'll try to help you. And even after going back home, when Dawson wants to involve Gedder again, he tries to stop. No, wait, but he was bulldozed by his father.
I think Jory's just nice, but I
Yeah, I
would
think-
not think that Jory thinks Gedder is his friend. I think Jory's just
Yeah.
a
I think Jory's a
stand-up
little
guy.
weirded out by Gedder,
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
as he should
Who
be.
wouldn't be talking about
Yeah.
speculative essays all the time?
No, he burnt when I killed innocent people in front of Jory. Obviously, everyone is like little wary of Gedder. Oh my God, let me stay back from that guy.
And then rather than talking about it, he's like, "Hey, Jory, do you think you could find a bookshop where I'm really looking for a speculative essay about when the dragons were in control?" And Jory's like, "You just like killed like 30,000 people."
And oh my God, first time I did not notice this, but this time I noticed that killing of destroying entire city, he did read in a book. Instead of giving it over to opponent or some other guy, in the past in history, many times it happened that they destroyed entire city. And Dawson was right in one way. He reads in a book and he implements that. No thought process in between.
It's like the opposite of Cithrin. Like, he has book knowledge of how things should go, but is not adept at applying it the way that Cithrin is.
It is. Yeah.
All right, Tori and Chris, we've just been gabbing
No.
back and forth about Gedder.
For my notes, I had starting off as Sam Tolley. I think someone mentioned it earlier. You get the Sam Tolley. He's like this, apparently this goof. He's like overweight. So let's pick on the chubby guy. And kind of thing. But he's probably going to be something late, and then realizing, oh wait, I'm reading a Daniel Abraham book, and then he turns into Stephen King's Carrie.
Gedder is supposed to be the hero.
Yeah.
In a fantasy book, Gedder is the hero.
Yeah. And I, in my notes, I have he turned into Stephen King's Carrie. There's like with Carrie, you feel sympathetic. You kind of want her to get her revenge, but she's psychotic, and she's evil, So I don't know. It was just reading his chapters, but like Anitha said, he had those moments. He had the moments where he had the with Prince. What was his name? Prince Aster. Yeah, Prince Aster at the end. That was nice. There's this like he tries to come back, but there's always somebody who makes him go mental, And I do like his little interaction with Alan Quinn at the end too. He's still
remember that
he's still pissed about his damn book, and he's like, he had that fake grin on his face, and starting to play that game a little bit, but everyone plays on Gedder, and just
exactly, bro.
He's so gullible, and you feel that's the part you feel bad about, is that he's so gullible. He wants everyone to like him, but nobody returns that, and they just use him. He's a scapegoat for everything that goes wrong. But yeah.
And then when you have such a fragile ego, and I get it, you've got Basrahip who calls him Prince Getter. Prince Getter. Like Basrahip gives him this power, gives him this like Basrahip just is inflating that ego.
Right.
And
and
he
so it's
also
just-
influenced by his power, like he will trust him. Now Gedder will trust him.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, Tori, you go ahead. I'll add
No,
one
that's
point.
fine.
No, I mean,
Go ahead. Go
yeah,
for it.
First time when I read, I blamed only Gedder for burning of Venai. But this time I questioned, is he the only reason for the burning of Venai? It's the unnecessary war promoted by Isandrian's cabal, and it's also Dawson putting Gedder in that place when he knows he's incompetent. And Gedder, there are three people involved. It was unnecessary war, it was incompetent military general who is not suitable to the role, and he reacted that way.
This Zelia Green, just real quick, this I love because they
Yeah.
talk about this like I think throughout the series, where Basrahip and the spider priesthood thinks that words are dead. Like he tells Getter, like words are dead on a page. They are not alive. Like written word is, and it's because you can't tell if something is true or not on the page. You can only their spider power works when he speaks. That's why he's telling Getter, like, you have to speak it. Don't believe what's written down. That can be lies, because the goddess, it doesn't work when you're reading a written thing. And that's just so like antithetical to us as readers. Like the written word has no power. The written word has no truth. Like, what people? So I just think it's a cool thing to yes, Mitch, imagine the smell of Venai. Indeed. Tori, what are your Getter thoughts?
I've been percolating listening to you guys in defense of homeschoolers.
They're not all like that. There are some who have never met another human being.
It's true. There are a lot of public school kids who get, even being around, I was bullied by those kids as a homeschooler.
Word.
So like I'm like, I knew more public schoolers as a kid who would just be like, it's not going my way, so I'm going to burn everything down, than homeschoolers by far. So I just felt like I had to say that. But I think it's true, though. I think regardless of all of that, I think, it's very individual based. And I feel like anybody who has been, burned by social interactions and chooses to then like find that kind of community or fulfillment in a different place, there's a level of detachment that happens there, regardless of the situation that it's coming from. And that's one of the reasons why I think, we talk so much on BookTube about, read lots of books, be more empathetic, yes to all of that. And also, I think there's something to be said for, as much as I don't want to agree with Basrahip, and I don't, there's an aspect in that is like, you also have to put it into practice. You also have to know how to be a contributing member of society, how to be able to have conversations with people, not just alone in your head, Yeah. And so I think Getter is I think a really good example of what happens when you are so detached from the reality of other people's perspectives and other people's lives that, burning a city is only something you read about in a book on a page. Like, there's no like immediate consequence to that. It's just something that happens in a story. And so there's no real weight to it. And I think a lot of people can sometimes read that way. And that's why I think sometimes the stuff that gets put into books that is excessively shock value oriented, where there's really no weight to it. We can do whatever we want to this character on this page, because what does it hurt? So that's my minor soapbox.
That's good.
So at the end, we have Getter named guardian of
God help us all.
Yeah, he's the guardian of the prince.
I want to add one last point.
Go ahead.
This time, this read, I was very surprised that I liked Gedder's father actually. He really wanted to protect Gedder. He sent him away when there was all that chaos in the city. And after he brought Basrahib back, he did not like it. He was like, his father is expecting, he knows actually this is not a good thing, Basrahib.
And
And he's worried. He's worried that his son is completely into this new religion, building temples and all. He
and
tries to tell him that, but and I really felt that father's love in Gedder's father rather than Dawson
but
actually in this read.
Getter doesn't understand why his father isn't proud of him, because for Getter, he sees, Getter has seen what people celebrate, and it's glory, right? So he's covered in all this glory and doesn't understand why his father's not proud. In fact, he's kind of getting mad at his dad
Yeah.
for not celebrating him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest
Even
of the
at the end, when King came to make Prince Astor as Gedder's
Yeah.
lord, Gedder's dad is not happy. He was like,
No.
I mean, King is not the only one who he wants company in losing his child. Actually, I am also losing my child.
It's because
He's sad about that. He knows what it means. He knows that Gedder will have more enemies now.
he lost his wife, and so all he has left is Getter, and he knows how. That's why he stays out of it himself. He knows how cutthroat the political arena is, so he doesn't enter it. He certainly doesn't want his son entering it. He's tried to protect his son from that Getter's whole life, and now, Getter is like the number 3 guy in Chemnopol, and
his father protected him too much.
Yes,
so it was not, it was an extreme on
He's surprising favorite character in this read for me.
If his dad had just allowed Getter some friction growing up, Getter would
very
have
sheltered.
Would hopefully have had more resilience to deal with this stuff. And even if it was the same, he was still picked on because he still was a nerd and he was still chubby and wasn't good at war, just having the resilience of having gone through some hardship might have led him to make different decisions when that power was handed over to him. And, so we'll see.
We can't all blame his protected childhood as well. He is a sociopath. He has to take some responsibility.
For sure. He's an adult. He is not absolved from his responsibility. So, it's just, I just think he's a fascinating character because, again, in any other series, Getter is the hero. He overcomes, he gets this power, he earns everyone's respect. Right now, he has everyone's fear, not their respect. They still don't respect him at all. They still think he's a fat chump. And like you said, that scene with Clint where he's like, hey Clint, do you remember when we got super drunk and you burned my book? And he's like, oh yeah, I remember that. And then he goes, so do I, and then walks away. So good.
And I do really appreciate too the way that Abraham, and he does this in LPQ as well, in a lot of books you feel the author's presence a lot more than you do in an Abraham book, where I feel like he's not, we're not told, he's not glorifying Getter in the narrative. He's not trying to tell us whether every step Getter's taking is right, or any of these characters. And that is something that I think he does really, really well, is you almost forget that there's an author, which is, in my opinion, how it should be. And I love that. I love that in his work.
Yeah, completely agree. We're not told how to feel about any of the characters.
Right. Yeah.
I always expect consequences to characters' actions in Abraham's books, but Gedder did not face them yet. So I am expecting or hoping that now. I don't know if Abraham will disappoint.
How do you know he ever will? I don't know.
I mean, I'm worried actually. If he doesn't, I will be very disappointed.
No. I do have a question actually for you, Alan and Anitha here, because you guys read it twice. Was there a perspective that changed for you from the first read to the second read?
Uh,
what would you say maybe was the biggest change from the
it-
two reads?
Only this book, it is my third read for me now.
Wow.
I appreciated Citrin's POV more, whereas I was little comfortable in my first read. And I loved Dawson in my first read. Even now, he's very compelling character for me, but I see his true nature, how, as you said, how classist and racist he is more now. And as I said, I blamed only Gedar for burning of Venai first time. This time, I see the big picture actually.
So
Mhm.
when I first
How
read it,
important it is, competent military general, otherwise war crimes will happen like that. So sorry,
um,
Anand, go ahead.
no, it's fine. The first time I read it, it was just introduction, like it was fine. And then I listened to it on audio again before I finished the series. And then I loved it. This time, the thing that changed for me the most is that I didn't like anybody. Like I liked every POV less than the last time I read it. But what this did was highlight a lot of the, like I like Vincent Coe a lot. I like Palin Clark. It highlighted a lot of the minor characters. Master Kit Kit is deserving of
Yeah.
his slot.
Yeah.
Love Master
Yeah.
Kit.
Yeah.
So I was able to enjoy a lot of the more minor interactions, knowing the main thrust of what happened. Because again, this is my third read of this one as well. This will be only the second time I've read. I've only read all the other books once. So yeah, so I disliked everyone more. I realized how unpleasant everybody was, and I felt much dirtier reading Getter than I did the first time because I was not rooting for him at any time because I know what he does in this book, and I'm just like Getter, like it just makes me feel icky because I do understand.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Only this book actually. Do you get the uncomfortable? At least I got the uncomfortable feeling around Vincent Coe, especially Dawson observes how similar Jory and Vincent Coe looks actually. Do you Did
No.
you get that uncomfortable feel? You can't say you read the entire series.
The thing is, how would that?
I don't know. There is something. I am very wary of that character. I don't trust.
Okay,
I
you don't
don't
have
know
to
why.
trust Vincent Coe. He saved Dawson's life and made out with Clara. We didn't talk about that.
That's
He liked Clara.
I loved. He would have been potentially my favorite character in the book.
Yeah.
That I will never like him as a character again.
Yeah,
That was
Clara
it.
was
I
like,
done.
love
I was
that
like,
either.
no.
Yeah.
Clara was like, he's dying anyway.
Yeah, I didn't love that either. Yeah, I didn't love that. I didn't love it the first time I read it. I didn't love it this time. I forgot it was there. Like I forgot it was
Blocked it out of your mind.
Yeah,
memory.
I knew he kissed her. I just didn't realize like it was
He
there
thought
at that
he was
point.
dying, so
Yeah.
there is a defense for that. But still, yeah, I don't like that as well.
Yeah, well, you know, he's the muscle. He's the muscle. Yeah, like Matt said, who hasn't pulled the "I'm dying soon"? So you should check out. really, haven't we all? Haven't we all? Guys, do y'all have any final thoughts? Okay? So Anitha, you've read the next book. Tori, Chris, give us some predictions. What do you think? What do you think? Or what do you want to happen in the next book? Do you have anything that you think might happen in the next book? What do y'all think?
I think we're going to see more of Clara, which I'm excited about. I look forward to seeing like Cithrin Magistra 2.0 in book 2 potentially. I think Getter is going to have some push and pull where like we're going to see little flickers of that humanity with Prince Aster, but I think it's eventually going to lose out even more, which I'm not looking forward to. And also I'm sure it's going to be very well written. Yeah, all I can say is I really hope Jory doesn't die, but since he's one of my favorite characters, at this point I'm just like it every single time. So I'm dreading that if it happens because I want Jory to stick around.
Chris?
I think Getter is definitely heading for some sort of, possibly sort of a rulership. I think because he's guardian of Prince Aster, and I think at some point Sidian is going to die, and Getter is going to be pretty much the voice for Prince Aster, and so I think things are just going to escalate from there. I think Cytherin, I of course hope to see some more growth from her, a little more maturity as she takes on her new role. And I'll be curious to see what derives from that. I mean, how much further she goes with her bank. Marcus, of course, being there right with her and seeing how far he'll go into, protecting her and mentoring her. I hope, and then some hopes are, of course, I like to see a little more of the other races intermingled, a little more of the magic play out. I mean, that's just me as a high fantasy reader. I would like to see a little bit more of the magic. I think what Daniel did in the first book was enough because it left such an impact the few times it was used. But I would like to see more of that play out for sure. And then, of course, more Master Kit.
Well, Matt thinks that Cytherin's bank's going to shift to crypto and AI.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I love book 2 and 3. Book 4 and 5 are also great, but 2 and 3 are my favorite by far. So, guys, this has been a great discussion. Thank y'all for coming on. I'm glad that that there was this much to talk about. So we shall see in book 2, right? We'll talk about it again. Y'all good to talk about it again?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, book 2.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's my next read. I'm very looking forward to it.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Oh,
mine's over there.
Nice. You wanna see something?
Abraham is conveniently near.
Can I show y'all something? I want to show you something. This is 50 pages into the book. There you go.
That is a spoiler. And
It's not it's 50 pages in that she gets a POV. She had a POV in the first one.
you blame me all the time. That is a spoiler. You spoiled
I'm sorry. Talking about how Getter is evil before we get to spoilers is not the same as saying Clara gets a POV chapter in the second book.
You ruined the book for me.
You've already read it, you freak. Anyway, I'm trying to give them something to look forward to, knowing
I'm
that
so
girl gets a
excited.
POV.
I want everyone, I want Clara to pat everyone on the head and just quietly take over the entire country. That's my prediction. I would love that.
I got this guy.
Getter's misunderstood. Don Covett, where were you when we were talking about it earlier? Oh my god. Anyway, I'm super excited to see what y'all think of this. And yeah, we'll get together. As soon as everybody is done reading it. Chris, when it's Tori's next book, when's it lined up for you?
What? I'm sorry, what?
When is it lined up for you? When are you reading it?
Oh, this month for sure. Just probably later in the month, so it's still fresh when we have the chat. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, we'll talk about it as soon as everybody finishes. Thanks so much, everybody who joined. If you he is misunderstood, but also he has power that he should not be handed. Bless his heart. Anyway, Anitha, what did you give this when you read it the first time?
5.